Take one. Okay, we're ripping apart the Mustang engine. We're going to take a video to make sure that we put everything back the way it's supposed to go. What we have to do is replace the camshaft, or not the camshaft, the upper intake valve. So let's have a look at it and see where everything is at the moment. And try to put it back all together the same way as it comes. Alright. There we have the belt. What the belt is going to... all the injectors, the injector rails. Right here is a grounding screw on the fuel rail. Right here, let's see, right here we have to take apart this. Where are you? Take apart this, and let's see, how does this look? Up here we have all this. All of that. Alright, now for the other side. I've already taken apart this piece. And so we have the injector rails. Here's what I want you to see. This piece here has to be reinstalled on the new one. Okay. This fuel line thing has to come off somehow with two hands maybe. Then we can disconnect the fuel line. And what do we have back here? We have the hose that we have to take off here. And let's take a look at this for a second. Have to take all that off. Take this guy off. All of these things here. And all the vacuum lines have to come off. So, yeah. Oh my. Okay. So we'll stop. Okay, so I've taken off this piece here. And I've removed the 4 bolts on the alternator to remove the bracket, and I've removed this from the alternator as well. Make sure that the negative is disconnected before you do this. Then I just have one more plug in there to take out on the alternator, and I've loosened the 2 bolts down here on the alternator, and I can just lift that straight up and out once I disconnect this. So in case you're wondering what size of wrench to use for the GR valve, it is a 1 1/16. So I'm just loosening this one off here. And it squeals nice like a pig. I'll turn it off. So just to show you what we've done here, we've removed this cable from here, and we've just removed this cable, which is our cruise control, off of this thing here. So this cable wraps around here and comes up and goes in there. Good. And now we're going to remove these 2 bolts here. Now I'm going to remove this bolt and this bolt and take these two cables out of here. So now, as you can see, I've got this cable just tucked away on the side here. Came from here, over here, and then I just put it over here. Now what we're going to do is disconnect these fuel injector lines by just pushing on the side tabs like this, pulling them off one by one. Except for that one's tough to get it. I have to remove this first. There's a tab there. Take off that line. That one. Use the tab. That one. Not easy. That one. This one and this one. So there we have fuel injectors disconnected and the coils for the spark plugs disconnected on all of this side, and I'm going to go around and do the other side too. Okay, so now we're going to remove the coil packs with these screws right here on each one of them, and that's a number 7 right there, wherever you can see it. There's another one, and just do the same all the way around. And another one, and another one. So I will do this for all of them and take out all the coils. Okay, so here we have all the coils out. And what are we looking at now? All the coils are out. The generator is out. All the coils are out on this side. And now I disconnected this hose from right there. So behind the horse we have a vacuum line we need to remove. Okay. And at the front of the horse we have another vacuum line we have to disconnect. This one here. Not so easily done. Okay. There we go. So that one's off. And the back one's off. Alright. So now I'm going to remove this upper rat hose and get this out of the way. Oh God, did I ever tighten that up? And this one here. Okay. So we got the radiator hose off, it's down there. Right down there now, from there. And we just continue on. So before we disconnect this fuel line here, we want to relieve the fuel pressure here, which has this cap on it. And we do that by depressing on the inside of the thing, putting a rag over top in case it does spray anything. So now I've done that, now I'm ready to clamp onto here with my tool and push that off. Can't really see that, can you? So we clamp on here and then we push on it, but I'll have to turn the video off. So this one goes here, this one goes here, those two, and this one goes there onto that one. Whew. So here we are on day 2. Okay, so here we are at the intake thing, intake manifold. So we got to remove this thing here for the coolant temperature sensor, and we got to get this whole railing off, all this railing off with the fuel injectors here. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 8 fuel injectors. So you can see here the line that goes between each rail, and so all of this has to get transferred back onto a new one. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to remove this bolt, this one, and this one. So that's the 4 bolts that are holding on the fuel rail and the fuel injectors, and so that's what we'll do. Remove the 4 bolts and take it off and put it on the new one. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so I decided to do a little cleaning on the, I don't know what you call these things, the horse, let's call it the horse, and the other components. So now I have pre-assembled some of the stuff, so let's have a look how it looks. There we have that, nice and clean. We call it the horse. Now to show you a little bit of the pre-assembly work on the intake manifold, let's have a look. So as you can see here, I put on the fuel rail, and just sort of loosely mounted this. The fuel rails here. Got the fuel injectors mounted into this new unit, and for this I had to put the bolt in here, the bolt in here, the bolt in here, and this one I just used the old one because the ground wire has to go on there again, and it seemed to be quite nicely fitting in there. So after that, that horse is just going to sit right on top of there with the 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th bolt going here. And then the hose connection for the heater core is going to come off of here, and it's going to go to the heater core. So cleaned all this stuff up, made it look nice. All the fuel injectors, I cleaned them all up, and put a little bit of a dielectric grease on the O-ring before I put it in there. Before, when I was doing this, it was like squeak, squeak, squeak. So now it's sort of sitting nicer. And there we go. So after all this, we're going to put this 8 bolts in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's going to be a 9th one going here. 10, 11. So on here it shows you the numbers here. Torque that number 10. Oh no, it shows down here number 5. There's a number 1. So you're going to start torquing this one, number 1. Then over here is number 2. Then number 3 is there. And number 4 is here. And then 5 is over here. And 6 is probably there. 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's the torquing sequence. So I'm pretty much ready to install this back into the car, and I'll actually have this off when I put this in and put this in. I'll have this off and put this in at a later time once this shoves into the motor there. So that's that. For here, this is the fuel connection. Just got a rag in there just to make sure any little small amounts of residue don't leak. Very good. Okay, so I finished the install of all the components, and I started it up and it started sounding rough, so I'm gonna take a crack at changing the spark plugs and see how it goes. That's how she looks all put together. So here I am again. I changed the spark plugs on the car, and it's running smooth like crazy, man. It's smooth.